Hey guys, Kate 420 back at it again. Car here, sorry, just back from an appointment. So here I am. Guess what? New computer. I'm gonna do a couple videos. Test this out. I want to see if it buffers. I want to see if it's slow. I want to see if it drags. I want to see how long it takes to load things. And if everything goes good with these couple of videos I put out today, I think I'm gonna go live tonight. So if you're up tonight, Friday night, up all night crew, look for me. Kate 420. All right, guys. So, I didn't really do a video on this when it first happened. Honestly, it was during. Oh yeah, let me just address the Karen do for like the third time. I've got a comment about my Karen do. This is an ex Karen do. This was a Karen do about 2 years ago. This is a I don't give a about my hair in the summer, and I just want to be able to like roll out of bed and throw a pair of glasses in it if I want. Okay? Thanks for the comments, though. Back to this video. I didn't do a video on Alex Murdaugh when he first got popular, as I should say, not in a very bad way. But I think it's time we address some things because this family is a very high profile family, 100 and some odd years in the district attorney's office, I believe South Carolina. Uh, and just crazy story behind all this, and he just pleaded not guilty for the unaliving YouTube, thank you, of his wife and son. Yes, and this was a prominent lawyer whose father and father's father and father's father's father were all a district attorney type in South Carolina. So let's talk about it, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. So let's talk about yesterday to him pleading guilty. This from a man who, the millionaire whose son was so spoiled. We'll talk about him in a minute. But his son was actually, I guess he didn't get found guilty because he was dead first. But he was charged with the death of one of his friends in a DUI boating accident, and of course his daddy and family were getting him out of it. Only now his daddy is basically alone, and that's because he may or may not have allegedly unalived his wife and child. There is another child alive, but we'll talk about him too. Alex Murdaugh borrows clothes from a lawyer's son so he can plead not guilty to unaliving his own son. All right, so Alex Murdaugh, the exiled South Carolina legal titan, was already facing a stunning array of criminal allegations before he was charged with unaliving his wife and son. He pled not guilty on Wednesday. He did so. What is going on? There we go. He did so. How he did so reflected his surreal downfall. And it said he was wearing his lawyer's son's clothes and shoes. The Colton County grand jury indicted him on 2 counts of unaliving, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime in connection to the June 21 unalivings of his 52-year-old wife, Margaret, 22-year-old son, Paul, who were both found fatally shot near the hunting dog kennels at the family's 1,700-acre estate in South Carolina. Murdaugh was the one who called 911. Prosecutors allege his wife had been unalived with assault. Bang, bang. Gosh, YouTube. I really just wish I could talk, read an article, and still be monetized. And that's for Google too. Just put that in there. Anyway, evidence came back to one person, it said, and then we're going to go into that in a minute. It says a lot that provides the background and motive for what happened on June 7th, 2021. Basically, let's put it this way. He pled not guilty here. Now let's get to the evidence, okay? So, boy, he's lost a lot of weight. Look at him there. That's him with at the hunting cabin. So a year ago, Alex Murdaugh told investigators who arrived to his home in Moselle, the family's hunting property, around 10 p.m., or that he arrived to the family's hunting property around 10 p.m. to find that his wife and son had been murdered near the dog kennels. He told investigators he had not been near the kennels or around the time law enforcement believes Paul and Maggie were unalived. In fact, he had not seen them before leaving for Varnville that evening. Alex was with his father at a hospital, according to the person close to the family. He came back to Moselle, took a nap, and when he awoke, he left to check on his mother, who suffers from dementia. He didn't see Maggie or Paul before he left, according to the person. A representative for the Murdaugh clan told Fit News last June Alex's alibi was ironclad. But, according to multiple sources, with knowledge of the situation, he was not being honest with law enforcement about where he was around the time of the unalivings. Okay, the state newspaper published a profile. Chris Wilson, a friend of Alex Murdaugh, profile on Bamberg attorney Chris Wilson. It said that Murdaugh's attorney Jim Griffin was now unequivocally placing Murdaugh at Moselle shortly before the unalivings. Griffin contends Murdaugh, a person of interest in the investigation, left the estate around 9 p.m. to drive to his mother's house, a 20-minute drive, and returned around 10 or shortly after. Why say this now, it says. One possible reason could be audio and video evidence obtained by South Carolina law enforcement shows Alex was indeed near the kennels that evening before he left for Varnville. He not only saw his wife and son, but he interacted with Maggie and Paul shortly before they were unalived. Multiple sources with knowledge to the investigation confirmed. Video found on Paul's now unlocked phone shows Alex and Maggie talking by the dog kennels that night. It is the latest revelation from a meticulously executed and therefore slow-going investigation. Now, the next part is where this came out. I think maybe January. The blood spatter. High velocity blood spatter was found on Murdaugh's clothes. Now, I don't know if you know, but Maggie was killed with one weapon. I think a rifle. Unalived. I can't believe I said it. Anyway. Oh well. His son was killed with an AR. Or vice versa. Anyway, still 1 year later, no charges have been filed. Yes, they have now. He has been indicted. 10 days. Okay, Murdaugh family spoke. I'm just seeing if there's anything more important on this one. I don't think so. No. Okay, next, the blood ties. Boom. Okay, so look at how fast this is loading, guys. Yay! It was the computer. I'm so happy. Okay, we're definitely going to be going live tonight. Blood spatters on clothes linked son Alex Murdaugh to murders, unalivings of wife and son. Who cares now? I just want to see okay, here it is. So this was back, it was only just July 14th. Once powerful South Carolina legal scion, Alex Murdaugh, was allegedly tied to the double slaying of his wife and son by blood spatter on his clothing, as well as a video putting him at the scene. The jailed lawyer is expected to get claimed an ironclad alibi. They were shot with 2 different weapons. Told you guys all that. Okay, there's Maggie. This is his son. Oh yes, and he is was as spoiled as he looks. He is the son who was driving drunk with 4 or 5 teenagers in a boat, because he had borrowed his brother's ID and got all drunk and drove drunk on the boat. And even though there was friends that were more sober begging to drive, he would not. And he ran into a bridge piling, and a young lady in that boat flew out and must have probably hit the bridge piling and knocked herself out. And she actually was missed. They couldn't find her. She was found 7 days later. And he was in the process. He had finally been charged, but like this was the biggest scandal that this family had ever seen, went through. And the father and the grandfather went to the hospital that night and was like trying to cover everything up like families like that do. And so basically he was having to deal with all of the fallout from this, and he blamed her for the way he behaved. He said Maggie was the reason Paul was like this. Oh, sorry. Let me go back. Okay. So, this says, let me move this. It could have only come from one thing, a source told an outlet, which has broken numerous, look how skinny he is now, sorry, which has broken numerous stories in the case while producing the podcast Murdaugh Murders. I'll have to listen to that. On Wednesday, the Today Show said the footage was discovered placing the since debarred lawyer at the murder scene. There was actual video and footage recovered from his slain son's phone. That would be him, right here. And I'll play that video in 1 second. Holy cow! It says, hold on. Here, hold on. Oh, that was it too. No, I better not. I better wait on the video part because
Do you see you?
Oh,
Yes.
Which one's you?
The one in the group.
no, I don't want that. I wanted the other video, but that's okay. Oopsie, wrong thing. Well, I'll try to see if it pops up again, but if it doesn't, it's fine. I can read. Anyway, it says although he was not seen in the video, he was heard talking to his wife with a timestamp that was just before the slaying, when the lawyer claimed to be visiting his dying dad and checking on his mother. He's already behind bars in South Carolina on a $7 million bond, facing dozens of charges for financial crimes, plus faking his own murder. He literally paid a third cousin to shoot him, and he shot him in the head, but not like it grazed him. Yeah. He also admitted to a secret years-long battle with drug addiction, opiate addiction. He says that's where all the money went that he stole from. There's another case he's involved in that he stole a bunch of money from his housekeeper's death. All right. He was also formally disbarred on Tuesday over his admitted reprehensible conduct. See how big he used to be, guys? That's what jail does to you. Straight soy and carbs. And you'd think that would make you huge. Oops, sorry. But if you go in there and you have any kind of special diet, oh, I'm a diabetic, I'm a vegan, I'm a this, I'm a that, you get nothing. I mean, yes, you get food, but you get don't go in there saying that you need a special diet, because you will get the worst food and never enough of it. Just look at him. So, next. Death, drugs, and deceit. A timeline. Okay, this is what I was looking for. A timeline of the Murdaugh family murders. See how skinny he is there? Oh my God. So, February 2018. I'm not going to read all this. I'm going to read the bold because everything else most of us already know. February 2018 is when the housekeeper fell and died. Well, she didn't die right away. She had a brain injury. Gloria Satterfield, 57, fell in the family's home. He told emergency responders she may have tripped over the dog. So February 2019, 1 year later, Alex Murdaugh's son is involved in the deadly boating accident. June 7th, 2021, Murdaugh's wife and son are murdered on their country estate. September 3rd, Murdaugh quits his high-profile job. 2021. Murdaugh quits his high-profile job, and September 4th, 2021, Murdaugh is shot and calls 911. He was a male driver in a blue pickup, asked him if he had car troubles. Now, the funny thing is, this is rich people problems right here. He said that he had pulled over to change his flat tire, but guess what? What was the kind of car did he have? Does it say it here? No, it doesn't. He said he had a low tire indicator light. Come on. But the kind of car he had run flats. Meaning, if you don't, most of the people may not know what that means because it's rich people problems, I would like to call it, is that you can put a bullet in that tire and it will run on flats. So you can run like another 50 miles on it until you can get to a place to deal with the tire. Yeah. So, he was shot. He had an exit wound. His skull was fractured, and it was not self-inflicted. That's because he paid someone. On the 6th, Murdaugh announced, "I'm checking into rehab." So after the shooting, he was released, and he announced his resignation from the law firm and his decision to enter rehab. He said he's sorry for hurting everybody, blah, 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 blah. September 7th, the next day, Murdaugh's law firm makes a surprise announcement. His resignation came because of misappropriation of funds and violation of standards. A forensic accounting firm will be retained to conduct a thorough investigation, they said. Murdaugh's brother Randy still works at the firm and said in a separate statement that while he loves his younger sibling and will support his recovery, he will not support, condone, or excuse his conduct in stealing by manipulating his most trusted relationships. The 14th of same month, 2021, police make an arrest in connection to Alex Murdaugh's shooting. Edward Smith, 61, shot Murdaugh. Was arrested for shooting Murdaugh 10 days earlier. He faces charges of assisted suicide, assault and battery of a high aggravated nature, pointing and presenting a firearm, insurance fraud, conspiracy. Oh, that's right, because what's not in here is that Alex said he was having this done so that his surviving son Buster would be able to collect his $10 million in insurance money. So right here, the 15th, he explains why he set up the shooting and faces a new lawsuit. He said, for the last 20 years, many people feeding his addiction to opioids, and during that time, these individuals took advantage of his addiction and his ability to pay substantial funds for drugs. So now it's everybody. Now it's the dealer's fault because they knew you was a lawyer and they made you pay double. My bad. I'm sorry. If I know you got it, I'm not cutting you a break. That's the way the world is. I hate to say it. Anyway, Gloria Satterfield also, that investigation is being reopened and reinvestigated because they say they swindled him out of a $505,000 insurance settlement, but it's not $505,000. It's actually like $4.3 million. Anyway, September 16th, Murdaugh surrenders to authorities. All right. Okay, so yeah, it says he basically they arrested him for fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, filing a false police report. So then he goes back to rehab. So that he's there from September 18th to October 14th, 2021, and then he leaves Florida and returns to South Carolina, back to the detention center. Questions arise over cashier checks, November 2021. Said there was a cashier check to pay Smith, or he used 17 cashier checks to pay Smith, the man accused of botching the suicide, over the course of around 6 months from October 2020 to the end of May 2021. November and December of 2021, he's accused of stealing millions of dollars. 48 counts of financial crimes against him and stealing a total of $6.1 million. A judge held him on a $7 million bond in connection to those charges, even though he told the courts his head is on straighter after 100 days of sobriety. He sure did lose a bunch of weight. So then, the next 2 months later, he faces 2.7 or 2.27 million and 23 new counts against him in financial crimes. Satterfield family was awarded 4.3 million, and that was May of 2022. June, the family was also granted investigators permission to exhume the body of Gloria. I think they're going to find out if she actually fell down the stairs and died that way. Okay, this month, he was charged with the murders of his wife and son. Like we had said, and then he's denied any role in their death. Okay, right here, his wife was killed. I was right, with a rifle, and his wife was killed with the AR. Killed the wife with the AR, killed the son with a rifle. Allegedly. The prosecutors have not said whether or not they're choosing to seek the death penalty. That's what I was looking to see. Okay, keep going really quick. We just talked about that, so I'm not going to read that. Apparently, they're going to exhume her body and find out whether or not, yeah. So, this is in regards to Buster. Buster, we haven't talked about. That's the older son. I'll talk about a little bit. He's kind of involved in this Stephen Smith murder investigation because there might have been some whispers of an alleged gay relationship between them two, and it got out, and he couldn't have that, and so this young man, Stephen Smith, ended up dead. It looked like a hit and run, but it was definitely not a hit and run. And so anyway, Buster's out there in the world alone, and he doesn't have daddy anymore, nor the money that he is so used to having to survive anymore. He's out here in the world alone with a very bad, everything that he's ever known is upside down. He does not have a mom or a brother or a father or his grandfather or his grandmother, all in the matter of like 2.5 years. On top of I don't pity people at all, like especially when you've spent 20 some odd years of your life living as good as you did live and you didn't appreciate it for a second from the sounds of it. But I do empathize, and I can say I know how it is to have shit, there goes my monetization, dropped on your plate so high that it's filling up your face, like you know what I mean, like it's just piling up, and you're literally suffocating in the shit, and that's kind of what it feels like. And that's what kind of happened to this kid in a matter of, I don't know, 2.5 years. So he says he's not doing well. His surviving son Buster, 26, is now a recluse after mother and brother were quote unquote murdered by his dad. He has gained weight, dropped friends, and never returned to the family home. Hold up, my belt's cutting into me. There we go. Okay. Buster Murdaugh, 26. Two of his friends said their heir to the Murdaugh legacy has gained weight, grown a beard, become a recluse. He looks tired. He's aged 10 years. He has bags under his eyes and he looks miserable. It's just a shame. He talks to his friends about his father's criminal charges, and his friends think he doesn't know what to believe. Right? Who wants to believe that? The only surviving person that you have left in the entire world that is your dad, even though he's in jail, and he's telling you, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. And like instinct, like evidence, everybody has nothing to gain from it, has given you all the proof you need to know that he did do it. But you just can't allow yourself to believe that, because then you would have no one. I feel for that. Remove everything else, and I do feel for that. I feel for the situation. I feel for the person going through that. That's probably terrifying, and I know, because I know how it feels to be absolutely alone. Yeah, got that one. You got it. Two of his friends, who were not identified, told people that the heir to the estate hasn't been doing well. He said that he cleared things out of the lodge and has never returned to the beach house his mother was staying in prior to her death. He's really not doing well. He really withdrew after everything happened. Before, he'd text immediately. His phone was surgically implanted in his hand or something. You'd send a text 24/7 and he'd respond. We love to chat. Now he doesn't respond to most texts, or if he does, it's one or two words. He is really closed off and built walls around himself. This is him, the older brother, Buster. I thought it looks to me like he lost weight. But again, all right. So he became collateral damage after his father. Exactly. That's kind of what it did. What happened. Father alleged criminal actions blew up across the nation. Alex's only remaining child let himself go. Says he doesn't make eye contact like he used to. He doesn't really engage like he used to. He looks tired. He's aged. He's got the attitude of, I'm going to shut people out before they shut me out. He doesn't really talk. So, okay, 13 months ago, Murdaugh told police he found the body. Oh, yeah, we know all that. Okay, so there's the whole family. Buster, boom. Maggie, boom. Paul, and then the dad that's charged with murdering both of them. Right here by these kennels. They were found by these kennels. And on the video that's on Paul's phone, the dad's out here talking to the mom by these kennels right before it happens. So, and then if you haven't ever heard it, it's really quick. Listen to this. This is all acting.
Hey, 911, where's your emergency?
This is Alex Murdaugh. It's 4147. I need the police to answer immediately.
Shit. Hold on, guys. I'll take it back. So I'm going to turn the sound up for you. There.
I need the police to answer immediately. My wife and child have been shot badly.
Okay, you said 4147 Allison?
Sir?
You said 4147 Allison?
Yes, sir. 4147.
Okay. Stay on the line with me, okay? Yes, sir. Stay on the line with me, okay?
Theo.
I'm still here. Stay on the line. I'm still here, okay? Carlton, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line, caller from 4147. He's advising that his wife and child was shot. Mr. Murdaugh, go ahead and talk to Carlton.
All right. So that was that. Yeah. Quickly, this is Mallory Beach. This is the girl that was in the boat who died. This is Stephen Smith, who I said the investigation is also being opened into his death because of a fling that he's known to have had with Buster and ended up dead in the road. What looks like a hit and run accident. So she's so gorgeous too. Look how young she was. There's a bunch more photos, but I got other stuff I want to do. I don't need that because I already did that. What is this Smith's family? Okay, so Stephen Smith, the one that Buster we were just talking about, what did they say about the indictment? Sandy Smith, the mother of Stephen, would like to convey her appreciation to SLED, State Law Enforcement Division, and South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson for their action today regarding the murder indictments of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. Smith had been found dead, her son, along the roadway in 2015. Authorities initially indicated he'd been struck by a vehicle and no suspects were charged. Smith's mother, Sandy, is among those who remain adamant about there being more to his death. Oops. Official autopsy ruled the death is a possible hit and run, except yet some authorities refuted that report after making their own observations at the scene, which is how, and let me explain why. One of the police officers, just like the night of the boating accident, there was two officers there that were friends of the family, so one kept trying to give Paul his phone back instead of keeping it for evidence. I believe one officer involved in this investigation also was a friend of the Murdaugh family. Again, this is a family that's very well known and respected in that area, or was. All right, so Stephen's death was the first of a string of deaths in Hampton County, which have collectively gained worldwide media and public attention. The tragic deaths of Stephen Smith, Gloria Satterfield, Mallory Beach, and most recently Maggie and Paul Murdaugh have been under intense scrutiny and investigation by journalists, lawyers, PIs, LEO. Despite all of the scrutiny, Stephen Smith's death remains shrouded in mystery and unanswered questions, her statement read. So you can read the entire statement by clicking here, which it's all right here. I basically read most of it to you guys, and then it just says a quote from the mother and then a quote from the attorney. That's all. Okay? And quickly, this is important. I need to do this before I go because I haven't seen a lot about this. It kind of bugged me. Came out this morning. Oops. Secret Life of Maggie Murdaugh and the Notorious Murderer's Forgotten Victim. Is there more? No. Sorry. See, there's Buster and then Maggie and Paul and the father Alex. The late Margaret Kennedy Branster. Ah, Kennedy. That's why she's so okay. So I get that now. Sorry. Grew up to marry. Okay, she was a granddaughter of a simple barber from rural Kentucky who grew up to marry one of South Carolina's richest men and fly around in chartered jets, and was only guilty of one thing, according to friends and family. Maggie Murdaugh, as she was known as an adult, spoiled her two sons. By most accounts, her older child, Buster, was much more easygoing and well-adjusted than Paul, who was 22 when he was shot to death, along with his 52-year-old mother at the hunting lodge in rural Colton County last June. The now notorious murders covered by news outlets all over the world remain unsolved, obviously. And Paul was facing criminal charges for the February 2019 boating accident. This is important. Death of his one-time girlfriend Mallory Beach. 19. Friends testify Paul became different, a destructive person when he drank. He called his alter ego Timmy. He used to get naked and run around and call himself Timmy. And he did this while driving the boat at 40 miles an hour. I saw him snap at least once, the family member said. He told his aunt to Nancy to go F herself. It was about 10 years ago. He would have been around 11. I was alone with him and maybe a few other kids were there. I was on his case about it, but he didn't give an S. He didn't take to authority well. Bubba Mixon, 52 of Varnville, whose eldest son attended school with Buster, said he and his wife knew Maggie well. And he and she shouldn't be blamed for being overindulgent. Or he said she shouldn't be blamed for being overindulgent with her boys. An old school homemaker and mother, she never worked outside the home, except briefly when she opened a gift shop on Hampton's main streets years ago. Maggie lived for her kids and told the Post she was at every school function. She was such a sweet person. She never met a stranger. I can't say enough good about her, and I mean that, he says. Okay, so right here. This is Maggie in high school. Must be like he's known her since then. Apparently, she's up in here somewhere too. She ran track. Okay, that's what that is. She was right here. This is what I wanted to find out. She was very close to her parents, Terry and Kennedy Brandstetter. Okay, so she wasn't a Kennedy. She's just the name. Kennedy is her middle name. Her dad's name is Kennedy, and they gave her that middle name. Okay, Terry, now 70, has been declining health since the murders. Okay, I think this one is okay. Maggie was born while her parents were living in Nashville. There's her Maggie and her parents right here. It's sad. Her parents were very proper, obviously. She's a pretty girl, or she was a pretty girl that had some preppy, wearing the same preppy clothes we all did. I remember us all out in the fields drinking a 6-pack, but Margaret, we never called her Maggie. She was always thin. She would pick at me for being heavier, but we all did and said things like that. She didn't deserve what happened to her. I think she got in too deep and didn't have a voice. But she had to be quiet on account of who she was married to. That was the tragedy, I think. That's what I wanted to make sure I read. All right, guys. So that was my 37-minute rundown of the Murdaugh family and the crimes that are now the father is now facing, those who are no longer here, the victims left behind. It's kind of amazing when you look at it because this family's dynamic was one complete way, and all in a matter of a few months, the father managed to destroy so many lives. The son destroyed so many lives, and the son is no longer here to pay for his crimes. He had to answer to his maker, but the father is going to have to pay for the innocence that he took. And who knows if it's just the son and the wife. It very well could be the housekeeper. It could, there's more involved here. So, all right, guys. You have a great day. Subscribe, press like. I'm trying to get my numbers up, and I will be live sometime tonight. Look for it. Catch you later.